Shalom Wakazak Mashpaka. Welcome to another episode of Script Unveiled right here on GCTV. We actually sincerely apologize to all our viewers, our fans out there who actually haven't seen us come on the show for a long time. We sincerely apologize, but we are here to promise you that we are back fully and we are not going anywhere. But before we proceed on today's episode on Script Unveiled, I would like you all to sit back and relax as we go on a commercial break. We'll be right back.
For sponsorship, advert placement, please call or WhatsApp this number +234 811 731 0928.
Welcome back to the show. It's still your boy DGN Yasharala right here on Script Unveiled. On today's episode of Script Unveiled, we'll be looking at some crucial things actually that Israel is missing in this late hour. Why they call late hour? Because we are in the last days. First of all, we'll start with questions. Number one, remember that when a Mashiach returns, we are not going to go into the kingdom immediately. Even before the Son of Man returns, first of all, we will still have to go through the wilderness experience. Majority of it will think this actually is a wilderness experience. Hell no. The wilderness experience is not just a synonymous act, it is a true life experience. The question is this: how prepared are you to go into the wilderness? Majority of you actually, you are so relaxed. You actually don't take things seriously. Let me use that word. The reason why I said so is this: majority of you think the so-called wilderness experience will be called the hard time you are going through now. Remember, book of James chapter 1 verse 2 said that count it all joy when we go to diverse temptation. Also, the book of Sirach, that book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 2, verse 1, said something. It says, "My son, if thou wilt come to serve me, prepare thy soul for temptation." Listen, every saint, every chosen seed of Israel, which have been chosen to be among that one part that will be saved, we will definitely go through trials. So these trials we're going through right now is not a wilderness experience. So now let me take us back to the drawing board. Remember the time of our forefathers. Look at the exodus that happened. The question is this: are you all prepared for the same exodus? Remember, our forefathers left the land of Egypt, which is the house of bondage. They left that particular nation with goods, with livestock, with enough possessions. But remember, everyone who stepped out of the land of Israel were not all Israel. We have mixed multitude. I remember that at that period, there was nothing like what we call the financial state. In what way? Israelites that left the land of Egypt, they never had any business that they are carrying along with themselves. So the question is this: how did our forefathers survive in the wilderness? Remember, even when you go ahead to study, most especially talking about physics, if I'm not mistaken, physics, that talks about the era of man. Look at the stone era, looking at how I'm going to put it. Is it the agricultural era? Whereby what we do at that moment is to do things, what we call trade by barter. If I need something that you have, I need something that I have, I will have to work to you to get what I want or what I need from you, and also give you what you need. That's also in my possession. But the question is this: how can such a thing happen when there is no love? Remember, when there's no love, there cannot be trust. So now the question is this: are you sure you are also qualified to live that same life as our forefathers lived back then in the wilderness? Why did I ask this simple question? There are a lot of things actually that are distracting the children of Israel today, in which we're not paying attention to. And I'll start from the top. Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 1 says, let me fetch it. The book of Zephaniah chapter 2 and verse 1. I'll be taking from the Sefer Bible. That's for the Mamash Packer actually, who actually using the Sefer Bible. The book of Zephaniah. I really don't know how to pronounce it in Hebrew, but for those of us who are using the English version of the Bible, you can understand what I'm talking about. The book of Zephaniah, that's Sephanyahu, that's in the Hebrew Bible. Zephaniah chapter 2, I'll take verse 1, and it says, gather yourself together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. Before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as the chaff, before the fierce anger of Yahuwah come upon you, before the day of Yahuwah's anger come upon you. Now, why did I bring out these scriptures? It says, gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desire. In these scriptures, it gives a clear understanding that we are meant to gather ourselves together as one nation, as a nation of people. But today, we are actually only being that nationality as Israelites. But we are not gathering ourselves together as one nation of Israel. Why? Because all the so-called, I won't call them what they call them, I'll call them all the so-called sole proprietorship camps and organizations, because all these camps actually are being governed and owned by one man. All these so-called organizations, all these camps, they are coming up with this so-called lifestyle called segregation. In the beginning of their classes, most especially the one I've experienced, that is IOIC, they state it in the beginning of their class that we do not affiliate with other Israelite camp. The question is this: what is that bringing up to Israel? It is bringing up division. Now let me ask you this question. If I'm lying, please prove me wrong. Have you ever seen a brother or a sister from IUIC go ahead to go and visit a brother, or go and share scriptures, or go and edify themselves together with another brother or another sister from a different camp? Show me where that has ever happened. Even if you try to do that, I'm 100% sure that the leadership of these camps will pull you out and try to scold you, calling you a traitor. Meanwhile, the Most High Yahuwah said we should get ourselves together as a nation. Why did he ask us to get ourselves together as one nation? Look at verse 2. It says, before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as the shaft, before the fierce anger of Yahuwah come upon you. The question is this. Remember that the scripture itself says in the book of 1 John chapter 2 verse 9, whereby it's saying whoever doesn't love his brother in the heart is in darkness. The major problem why Israel is not growing is because this camp segregation and divisional lifestyle and policy is making our brothers to hate themselves for no reason in the heart, which is not right. For the fact that you are even doing that, which is against the commandment that says love your neighbor as you love yourself. James 5 verse 16, it said there, James chapter 5, let me put it real quick. The book of James. The book of James chapter 5. That's Yaakov. James chapter 5 verse 16. The book of Yaakov in the Sefer. Yaakov 5:16. And it says, confess your fault one to another, and pray one for another, that ye may be healed. The effectual fervent prayer of the righteous man avails much. Now the thing is this: when you don't have love in your heart, when you are having that camp division in your mentality, how can you be able to love your brother? It is only when you love your brother that you can confess his faults to him. But when you have this mindset of saying, this is not in my camp, I got nothing to do with him, the question is this: how won't the fierce anger of Yahuwah come upon you in that day? Another question you should ask yourself is this: if as of today we find it difficult to love ourselves simply because of the organizational division among us, now let me now put something out in which you all need to learn from. Like we all know, Romans chapter 3 verse 4 says, let Yahuwah be true and every man be a liar. So we're going to go through the scriptures. 2 Timothy or 1 Timothy? Is this let me see. Is this 2 Timothy or the book of Romans? I think it's Romans. Yeah. The book of Romans chapter 16 verse 17 and verse 18. Thank you. Romans chapter 16 verse 17 and verse 18. It says, now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause divisions and offenses, contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned, and avoid them. What is that doctrine that we actually have learned as it is written? The doctrine of love your brother. Gather yourself together as a nation. But whoever is teaching contrary to that, which are those who are bringing up the consecutive and the policy of we don't affiliate, they are bringing contrary to the doctrine that we have learned. Because don't get it twisted, when we get to the wilderness, there will not be anything like camp separation. Whatever camp you hold here right now, either you are in IUIC, you are in ISUPK, you are in Psychari, you are in HOI, you are in HODC, you are in AOI, you are in GMS, you are in any camp you want to call it. When we get into the wilderness, there will not be any such camp in the wilderness. We will all be one nation because we all have to speak one voice. We all have to agree to one thing. We all have to be like-minded. But remember, these camps are teaching division and different doctrines. That is why if you ask, are you watching some things, they will tell you it's different from the way they teach it in this particular camp. Meanwhile, we are reading from the same Bible, from the same scriptures. So the Bible itself says clearly in the book of Romans chapter 16 verse 17 that, now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause divisions and offenses, contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned, and avoid them. Why? For they that are such serve not our Adonai Yahusha Amashiach, but their own belly, and by good words and fair speech deceive the heart of the simple. That is why today, in all this camp, they have the huge multitude. But why haven't Amashiach returns? Because these camps actually, they are not just gathering the 2/3 of Israel. This camp, even among these same camps, we have the weeds among the majority of the tears will be destroyed. But the thing is this: when the time is right for Yahuwah to pull you out, He will make you sit among these people, just like He allowed me to sit among IUIC for 2 years, so that I can see all the wicked things they are doing which are not scriptural, before He pulled me out and make me reflect on things, saying, truly, if truly they said this, they said that in the camp, but the scripture never said so, then something is wrong. Remember, Exodus chapter 23 verse 2 says, thou shalt not join the multitude to do evil. Now, Most times the camps quote this particular portion of the scriptures whenever any brother or any sister who have seen their wickedness end up confronting them. What they do next is to kick that brother out or kick that sister out, post these scriptures and said they are out of the truth. Meanwhile, these camps are doing that so that they can keep every other persons in the camp sleeping. Later you ask yourself, I've been working to be the truth for the past 15 years. Meanwhile, you are even still sleeping. If you like, keep all the whole feast days. If you like, eat all the whole lawful foods. The thing remains that if you don't fulfill one of these commandments, you are going to be the least in the kingdom. And like you know, if you are lukewarm, if you are neither cold, you are never hot, Yahuwah will spew you out. That means you're not going to the kingdom. What is the essence of you keeping all the laws? You are wearing your beards, you got your fringes, you have your hair grown and you keep the feast days, you eat the lawful food, but yet you don't love your brother because he's not from the same camp. You don't love your brother because you have that wicked mind which has been taught to you by your so-called leadership. You know that with this singular act alone, it is enough to destroy your entire work, destroy your entire reputation in the truth. The question is this: what shall it profit you after spending several years thinking you're in the truth, serving those camp leaders, and when Amashiach returns, you didn't make it to the kingdom? How will you feel when Yahusha Amashiach returns, and when he starts separating the goats from the sheep, you fall among the goats? How will you feel when Amashiach returns, and when he's separating the tares from the wheat, you end up falling among the tares after your several years taking you in the truth, after several years of reading the scriptures back to back, after several years of going to every so-called camp, going for flowers mission, going for everything? Why? Because you missed just one thing. You miss loving your brother. This is one thing that Israel actually are getting to lose, in which I pray that we all wake up to this. To not cut a long story short, actually, aside from you loving your brother, because without love we cannot trust ourselves. So how will you trust your brother to not get to the wilderness? Most people actually, with the kind of demons that are put into people in the camps, you can choose to be in the kingdom and starve to death because you cannot find a brother from your camp. So you keep walking and walking and walking in the wilderness until you find a brother that's from your camp. That is stupidity. That is foolishness. That's just not enough. Now, after we do all the old work, we get to the wilderness, it can only be true love that we can do the trade by barter to survive in the kingdom. But do you also all know that in the wilderness, this is a time we need to start trading ourselves up for some things? Because remember, the wilderness is not like the city we are today, where you can walk into Walmart and get anything from the store. In the wilderness, it's going to be all surrounded with natures, grains, and other foods. The question is this: how prepared are you? On this same station, GCTV, we have a program called Health Matters, whereby we give our people vivid information about some natural foods that we might have seen or that we might have known, which actually have a whole lot of health benefits to it. The question is this: how will you get to the wilderness and might have some difficulties with your health? Which herb can you run to know what to treat yourself, when as of today you still trust on the food in the stores? You are not preparing yourself for the wilderness at all. How prepared are you when you end up getting to the wilderness and we need to start planting our seeds? Do you actually know what each plant works for? Do you know the effective benefit of each fruit that we see? Do you know what herb we can munch together to treat some particular illness? But instead, we are relaxed thinking this is where everything's going to end. Listen, in the wilderness, it's going to be a whole time talking about just yourself and yourself alone. In the wilderness, we are not taking no Walmart to the wilderness. In the wilderness, we will not be taking no turkey bacon to the wilderness. The question is this: how prepared are you? You get interested? In the wilderness, where we have, that is why love needs to come in. I might be good in food research and fruits and other things, which can end up becoming what we call tag as herbalist. Also, in the same wilderness, where we have some brothers who will be good hashers and good hunters, who can go into the woods and hunt lawful animals like venison. We all know Cain, in the days of the scriptures, he was also what? Is it Cain? No. I am sorry, pardon me, not Cain. Cain is the farmer, while Abel is the shepherd. I'm talking about Esau. Esau actually is a hunter. That was why his father Isaac loved him due to the venison he do prepare for him. But the question is this: not everybody can be a hunter. That is why in the kingdom we will all be one body but different offices. But the question is this: how will those offices work when there's no love? Imagine you are the eye. If you don't love the nose, you decide to just go say that you don't want to work anymore because the nose is not your friend. Automatically that body is dead. So why can't we learn to let love lead? Let us drop all this organizational difference and demons they are spreading on us all, because we are still sleeping. The wilderness is near. That is why the scripture, the parable that Amashia gave about the 5 wise virgins and the 5 foolish virgins. Don't get it wrong. Don't think that 5 foolish virgins actually are those that just blah 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 and other things. In case you don't know, the 5 wise virgins that even fell asleep, they are those Israelites that at some point the trials of this world got them so weak that they need to rest. Not that they derail out of the truth, but it kept their faith so shaky that they just need to just hibernate for a while, just to recover their strength back. But remember, when they were moving, they went with enough oil. The question is this: how prepared are you having enough oil for the wilderness? With that, I'll make it a close on the show today. I pray you all actually enjoy today's class, today's program. And also as well, I'll use this medium to also inform you all to please subscribe to our YouTube channel and also click the bell button so that you can get notification on each time we get to drop new videos of new programs every time on the YouTube channel. And also, if really you love your brothers and you love your sisters as well, whenever we drop informative programs on the YouTube channel, endeavor to just click the share button, share with friends, tag with family. Let them also get to know about these things, because if you are not informed, you will be deformed. And I'm sure if you love them, you won't want them to be deformed. So therefore, help them by getting informed. Share our videos, like, comment, hashtag, spread it everywhere. Let everyone get themselves prepared, because we are not having much time anymore. Also as well, we'll be having a new program on GCTV talking about the Utu Children's Club. And we are going to be having ours as Yasharala Utu Children's Club. This Yasharala Utu Children's Club actually is a club whereby we can gather children, most especially the children of Israel, our offspring, the young ones amongst us. We are trying to see how we can gather them together, make them come together as children, learn some things, and also to ensure that yes, they've learned and assimilated something positive. We ask them questions so that they can share the knowledge they've learned with their fellow group mates. Also with that will help the children to see how they can come together and share the information, the knowledge they've learned from each of the classes and episodes in their club. If you want to register your children or your child to this Yasharala Utu Children's Club, you will see the number actually on your screen. Message that number on WhatsApp so we can proceed the registration of your child. Don't forget, I come again, don't forget, the registration to this club is totally free. I repeat myself, the registration to this Yasharala Utu Children's Club is 100% free, because we need to give our children that knowledge they deserve. They have taken knowledge away from us. Now we must give that knowledge back to our youngsters so that they can be the next best generation. So with this is where I'll draw the curtain for today's episode of Script Unveiled. See you same time next week right here on GC TV. Shalom Wakazak Mashpaka.